new 3-inch monthly insert. We will be painting this today. I am going to do 12 individual videos showing how to paint each insert. So I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what all of them look like blank, not painted. And then we're gonna paint. So I'm gonna pause and then we're gonna go to the next one. Okay, we are gonna start out with January. I like to use painter's tape to hold down my pieces. So let's get that going. Just put that right there. Make sure you can see. This is my first time ever creating painting tutorials, so bear with me as I'm trying to figure out all the pieces. And I'm color sorting right now. I think I want these to be like a slate gray, this to be a blue, this to be a pink, and you can see how I have some scorching. So one option that I like to do is just take a wet baby wipe and just kind of wipe it down, and it'll help when I'm painting that the scorching there won't bleed through the paint. White's probably the worst. So if I was going to paint this right here white, so you can see how you can pick up some of that scorching, I'd probably sand this off if I was going to use, and I just have a little hand sander. I don't even know what's on here, but it's well used. Yeah, I would just lightly sand like that and then wipe the dust off. I actually prefer to put this on like a separate work surface because MDF is so powdery, but that's just a small piece. And then I am painting this star, or the snowflake, white. So I'm gonna give it a quick wipe down and then go over it. I could tell you what grit, this is 240 grit. And I picked this up at Home Depot. Amazon has them, Walmart has them. You can get refill strips as well. I think I ordered refill strips on Amazon. And then I'm not gonna worry about wiping these down because they're gonna be slate gray, and it'll just give you an example of what that'll look like. And I think I'm gonna paint this like a purple. So let me get my colors. So I like to use DecoArt. I will buy it like this, and then a lot of times if I don't want to order DecoArt paint from the store and I'm going to town, I can color match it at Home Depot. So I usually just paint this on like a piece of cardboard 3 or 4 times just to get a good color, and then take the little, I call it color swatch, to Home Depot, and they can color match it and paint it for it, or get you a sample. I like to, let me go get one of my sample containers to show you. So this is the sample size from Home Depot that I get. I get Behr. I do interior, exterior paint and primer. I get satin only because I paint wood flowers and I like satin over matte. For this, satin or matte works. It's your preference. However type of paint you like, you can get, but they will definitely color match. And this is like a little over $6, under $7 for 8 ounces worth of paint, where with DecoArt you only get 2 ounces, and this is like, what, $3? So, and then I just put them in honey containers. So that's an option for you. Let's get to painting. Also, when I paint, I like to use makeup sponges. I ordered these from Amazon. You can get them at Walmart in the makeup section. So I think I'm gonna paint this purple cow, and I'm gonna use my Home Depot color. I just put a little bit on this tin foil. I like to use tin foil because it's easy to clean up. And when I'm floating, it's easy to get my paintbrush just right. So dab a little bit. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, you can. Dab a little bit on my makeup sponge, and then I'm just gonna go around it. It covers pretty easy. I might do 2 coats just because I want to make sure to get that scorching. But with the makeup sponge, it puts on a really light layer. It's pretty consistent. And I don't have to worry about getting all the way into the hat. I just want to make sure to get around it. So I'll just do it nice, and I'll do the whole thing. Why not? And there we go. I think I might do 1 more coat after it dries, and it dries really quick. So I'm just gonna set that to the side. Here's my slate gray color match from Home Depot. Slate gray is the color of the Deco Art paint, and then my makeup sponge. I don't need a lot on there. So then I just put a nice little layer on. I'm gonna let that dry, and we'll probably do another one. And then a blue. I think I'm gonna use Winter Blue. This is also a Deco Art color that I got color matched at Home Depot. We'll see. I think I want it to be a little bit darker, because that looks too gray. Let's see, what do I got here? Finish putting a base coat on here, and then I'm gonna go over it with something darker. While that dries, we can go ahead and get, this is Cotton Candy from Deco Art, color matched from Home Depot. I definitely need to learn to clean my paints, but you know, when you paint, life gets messy, and that's okay. And then pick that. And this will definitely need another coat. I'm not pressing hard or anything, just tapping. And white for the snowflake. Okay, we'll let that dry for a second. I'm gonna go find a darker blue. Okay, so I found this Mega Blue. I don't think that that's a Deco Art color. I think it's just a color I got at Home Depot. I got Williamsburg Blue or Deep Midnight Blue. I'm not really finding a good blue jean blue. So, to match this purple, I think I'm gonna do this one. I need another sponge. Let me shake this up real quick. It's pretty. We will have to go over that again. Okay. All right, so this is dry, and we can put in another coat. Actually, let's start with this one. Let's do another coat off purple. Starting with this one, since this is the first one that I already put paint on, and give the other ones a little bit more time to dry. And you guys can paint this however you want. Go with a little bit of slate gray. And pink, cotton candy. And white. Use my baby wipe to clean the paint off my fingers so I don't get it on my projects, because when you're working on something and you accidentally get paint off your fingers onto your project, that's frustrating. All right, let that dry. Should have brought my blow dryer, but that's all right. I'm gonna pause this while I let this dry. Okay, I went ahead and added another layer to the blue. Now that this is dry, I am going to float a darker purple around the edge just to kind of soften it up, and then we're gonna add some dots. So I like to use an angle brush. So I have some wipies here that I just kind of like to dry my brush off on, get it wet. And then I like to watch when I put the paintbrush on the baby wipe, the water, you can kind of see it disappear. And then I just tip the edge of my paintbrush in my white. Actually, I'm not doing white, I'm doing darker purple. I'm gonna try this lavender color because it's darker than this. We'll see what it looks like. Let me get some on my foil here. Just need a little bit. Okay, so get water on my paintbrush. Watch the water soak up. You'll see it disappear, like the sheen just kind of goes away. And I'm just gonna dip the corner of my brush into the paint, kind of load it. And then I'm going to just go around. And this takes practice. I am not the best. I definitely have good days and bad days. You just want to make sure to practice. If you don't like it, you can take a baby wipe and wipe it off real quick. But as long as it's wet, you can maneuver it. Again, I'm not the best, and I'll definitely show you some other tips and tricks that I found for floating, especially on the days that I can't seem to get it to float right and don't have patience. But just keep going around the edge. Again, you want to make sure to only keep the paint on the tip of your angle brush. And if you guys have any tricks to improving the float process, I am all for tips and tricks. So I am not a professional painter. I'm self-taught. Been doing this for as long as I can remember, and I don't know. I just practice. And then I just keep going around until I'm happy with the way it looks. And when my brush gets dry, I just rinse it off real quick, get it wet again, dab, load it again, and keep going. And you just go until you're happy. Till your heart is all happy. Okay. I like that. So I'm gonna rinse off my brush, clean it off, set it aside, and then you can get little daubers like this in at the dollar store. They sell them by the nail polish because it's for nail art. But I've had this for years. I couldn't even tell you where I got it, but I just picked this one up off of Amazon. It's a nail art that has a fine brush that I have used and abused for lines and a little dauber on the end. So Amazon has them, dollar stores have them. I'm sure you can find them at Walmart, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, whatever craft store you have in your area. And again, mine are used and abused. I'm trying to clean up some of the paint. Anyhow, I'm going to use the bigger end. So I'm just, and you want to make sure to use fresh paint. You don't want to use paint that's been sitting on your palette for a while. And I like to start in the middle at the top, and then I'll go down, kind of work on my four corners, I guess you could say. And then I'll go in, like halfway between these two. I'm going to go in a little bit, reload, in a little bit. And then if you want, you can use a smaller end and go in between those and add a few more dots. Sometimes I get a little dot happy, but that's okay. And then you can turn it so that you don't get your fingers or your hand, the back of your hand, in your wet paint. All right, I think that's good. We're gonna set that aside and let that dry. I'm gonna clean off my paint. All right, on this guy, I think I want to shade him with some white. So make sure you use some fresh paint, load your brush. Just the tip of my brush is covered in paint, and then I'm just gonna go over the top as like a highlight. Now, this part is going to go right here, so you don't need to worry about shading that part. And also the little puff ball, this will go over the top, so you don't need to worry about shading up there. The side is a little uneven. Again, I am not the pro here, but I like that. So I rinse off my brush, dab off the, or clean it, I don't need it right now. I think I'm going to add a little bit of highlight at the top of this just to soften it up. And sometimes it's hard to paint on items like this because of all the open, but I find short strokes work pretty good. Yeah, I like that. Yep. And then I'm gonna add a highlight to the top of this, but I wanna make sure I get the top. That's top. So you can either hold it with your finger or you can use your tape to hold it down. And then I just go over the top. I like that. And let it dry. The glue that I like to use for any indoor items, not for outdoor, is the Art Glitter Glue. You can pick this up on Amazon, but if you live in a hot area, you want to be careful because the heat and or the cold can really mess with this stuff. I haven't had any issues with it. Again, I live in the Pacific Northwest. So my temperature's hot or cold, never in the middle. And then I like to buy the refill, this, and then I put it in little containers like this. I picked this up at Hobby Lobby. I like the small tip for these small items. It works really well. I'm gonna pause this video and let this stuff dry, and then we'll resume when we put it all together. Okay, everything is dry, and now I want to put it together. So I just use my glue, go around the edges. You can put this on your paint palette and use a sponge if you want, or you can do this, and then I just put it on here to get the excess glue off. And glue it on. Make sure everything is lined up. That's good. Put my puff ball on. And art glitter glue, it doesn't dry super fast. It gives you enough time to get your pieces moved. Like whereas Stick Fast, I mean, you better place it right? But it dries pretty quick. Like I can touch that and it doesn't come off. I am shaky today. All right, so when I put this on, I just make sure the edges are facing down. It really doesn't matter, but that's the way the file is designed. Super cute. Oh my gosh, love it. And this, my little paint dots are still a little wet, but I'm just gonna put paint around the outline there and stick this on here. Press down just a little bit. There. Here's our first one done.